Have you ever wondered why two people can begin with the same opportunities, the same education, and even the same dreams, yet years later their lives look completely different? One builds a life filled with purpose, confidence, and achievement, while the other quietly settles for less than they once imagined. The difference rarely begins with intelligence, talent, or luck. It begins inside the mind, long before success or failure becomes visible to anyone else. Most people spend their entire lives believing they are limited by circumstances. They blame their past, their environment, their finances, or the people around them. While those challenges are undeniably real, they are rarely the greatest obstacles standing between someone and their potential. The greatest obstacle is often invisible. It hides inside daily thoughts, repeated habits, unconscious beliefs, and the quiet decisions made when nobody else is watching every single ordinary day. Every person enters this world carrying possibilities they cannot yet see. As children, we imagine extraordinary futures without questioning whether they are possible. We dream freely because our minds have not yet learned the language of limitation. But as the years pass, failure becomes embarrassing, rejection becomes painful, and criticism becomes personal. Slowly, confidence gives way to caution, curiosity is replaced by fear, and possibility is exchanged for comfort forever. Without realizing it, most people stop asking what they are capable of becoming and begin asking what feels safe. That single shift changes everything. Your comfort zone is one of the most convincing prisons ever created because it never feels like a prison. It feels familiar, predictable, and secure. Yet almost every meaningful opportunity exists just beyond its borders, waiting patiently for those willing to step into uncertainty, despite fear and doubt. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. From below, the climb appears exhausting, uncertain, and intimidating. Every excuse encourages you to remain where you are. But those who eventually reach the summit discover something remarkable. The mountain was never the greatest challenge. Their hesitation was. Life works exactly the same way. Most limitations are not physical. They are psychological, silently shaping every decision before action ever begins to unfold in reality. The stories you repeat to yourself become the boundaries of your future. Tell yourself you are unlucky, and your mind begins collecting evidence to support that belief. Tell yourself you are incapable, and every setback feels like proof. But tell yourself that every challenge is preparing you for something greater, and suddenly obstacles begin looking different. The circumstances remain unchanged, yet your response transforms completely, opening doors previously hidden from your awareness. This is why mindset matters far more than motivation. Motivation rises and falls with emotions, circumstances, and temporary excitement. Mindset determines what you do when motivation disappears. It shapes how you interpret failure, respond to setbacks, and continue after disappointment. History repeatedly proves that extraordinary people were not protected from failure. They simply refused to let failure become their identity, and that decision changed the course of their entire lives forever. The moment you allow failure to define your identity, you stop seeing it as a temporary event and begin treating it as a permanent truth. That is where potential quietly begins to disappear. Every successful person has failed repeatedly, Yet they viewed each setback as information instead of evidence of personal weakness. They understood that failure is not the opposite of success. It is often the path leading directly toward it. Imagine planting a seed beneath the soil. For weeks, nothing appears to happen. The ground looks unchanged, making it easy to believe your effort was wasted. Yet beneath the surface, invisible roots are forming. Personal growth follows the same pattern. Long before confidence, discipline, or success become visible, they develop quietly within you. Those who quit early never realize how close they were to remarkable transformation and lasting achievement. One of the greatest mistakes people make is comparing their beginning to someone else's destination. They see years of invisible effort compressed into a single moment of visible success. What they admire today is usually the result of countless ordinary days filled with discipline, patience, mistakes, and persistence. Stop measuring your progress against another person's timeline. The only comparison that truly matters is the person you were yesterday and who you choose becoming tomorrow. Your daily habits are shaping your future, whether you notice them or not. Every decision is casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Reading one chapter, exercising for 30 minutes, finishing important work before distractions, or choosing learning instead of comfort may seem insignificant today. Yet, repeated consistently, those small actions quietly transform your identity, proving that extraordinary lives are built through ordinary choices, repeated with unwavering commitment over time. There will always be people who doubt your dreams because they measure your future using your present circumstances. Never allow their limited vision to become your reality. Most breakthroughs look impossible until someone refuses to stop trying. Protect your dreams from unnecessary opinions and let your actions speak louder than your explanations. Success rarely convinces people through promises. It convinces them through undeniable results earned with patience, courage, and relentless consistency every day. Confidence is not something you discover hidden inside yourself. It is something you create through repeated action. Every promise you keep strengthens self-respect. Every difficult task you finish weakens fear. Every challenge you face teaches your mind that discomfort is temporary while growth is permanent. Eventually, confidence stops feeling like an emotion and becomes part of your identity, allowing you to move forward even when certainty is completely absent from your path. The question is no longer whether you possess extraordinary potential. You do. The real question is whether you are willing to become the person capable of unlocking it. That answer will never be found inside your circumstances. It will be found in your daily decisions, your private habits, and your willingness to continue when progress feels invisible. Because everything meaningful begins changing the moment you refuse to give up on yourself. The greatest transformations rarely begin with dramatic moments. More often, they begin with one quiet decision that nobody else notices. A decision to wake up earlier, to finish what you started, to stop making excuses, or to believe in yourself one more time. These choices seem ordinary in the moment, yet over months and years, they create a life that appears extraordinary to everyone looking from the outside. Many people spend years searching for the perfect opportunity while ignoring the opportunities already placed before them. They believe success requires ideal conditions, But reality tells a different story. Those who achieve remarkable things usually begin with limited resources, imperfect knowledge, and countless uncertainties. They move forward anyway, understanding that clarity often comes after action, not before it. Progress rewards movement, while hesitation quietly rewards regret and missed possibilities forever. Your environment has more influence over your future than most people realize. The conversations you hear, the content you consume, the people you spend time with, and the habits surrounding your daily life slowly shape your thinking. If you constantly surround yourself with negativity, your ambitions begin shrinking. But when your environment encourages growth, discipline, and learning, your standards naturally rise, making success feel more realistic and far more achievable over time. Think about an airplane leaving the runway. During the first few moments, enormous energy is required simply to lift from the ground. Once it reaches the sky, maintaining momentum becomes much easier. Personal growth follows the same principle. Starting is always the hardest part. That is why so many people quit before experiencing meaningful progress. They mistake the difficulty of beginning for proof they are moving in the wrong direction entirely. Discipline is often misunderstood because people associate it with restriction and sacrifice. In reality, discipline creates freedom. Financial discipline creates financial freedom. Physical discipline creates healthier living. Mental discipline creates emotional stability. Time discipline creates greater opportunities. Every meaningful freedom you admire in another person's life is almost always the result of invisible discipline practiced consistently long before anyone noticed the rewards. Success simply reveals what discipline quietly built over many years. There will be days when your progress feels painfully slow. You will question whether your effort is making any difference at all. During those moments, remember that nature never rushes its greatest creations. A mighty tree spends years strengthening roots before displaying its full height. Your life deserves the same patience. Continue building beneath the surface, trusting that today's invisible effort will eventually become tomorrow's undeniable strength, confidence, wisdom, and lasting success. Perhaps your future is not waiting for more talent, better luck, or perfect timing. Perhaps it is waiting for one decision, the decision to stop doubting your potential and start honoring it through consistent action. Because every remarkable achievement begins exactly the same way. Someone decides that their excuses will no longer control their destiny. And from that single decision, an entirely different life begins to unfold, one step after another with purpose. Success has never belonged exclusively to the smartest people in the room. It has always belonged to those who remained committed long after everyone else became distracted. Intelligence may open a door, but consistency keeps it open. Every day you continue despite boredom, uncertainty, or temporary failure. You separate yourself from countless others who abandoned their dreams simply because the journey demanded more patience than they were willing to give. Imagine two sculptors standing before identical blocks of stone. One becomes frustrated after a few unsuccessful attempts and walks away. The other returns every morning, making one careful strike after another. At first, nothing appears different. Yet over time, a masterpiece slowly emerges. Success works exactly the same way. It is rarely created by one extraordinary effort. It is shaped through thousands of ordinary actions repeated with remarkable patience and unwavering intention. Your future is influenced less by the decisions you make once and more by the decisions you repeat daily. Reading instead of scrolling, learning instead of complaining, saving instead of wasting, practicing instead of procrastinating. These choices may seem insignificant when viewed individually, but together they become the architecture of an extraordinary life. Greatness is never built during rare moments of inspiration alone. It is built during ordinary days that nobody else remembers noticing. Fear has a remarkable ability to disguise itself as logic. It whispers that you should wait until you feel ready, until conditions improve, or until confidence finally arrives. But confidence is never the starting point. It is the reward earned after repeated action. Those who accomplish meaningful things are not fearless. They simply refuse to let fear make decisions on their behalf. They move forward while uncertainty quietly follows behind them instead. Every successful person eventually reaches a moment when quitting feels reasonable. Progress slows. Results disappear. Doubt grows louder than hope. That moment becomes a silent test of character. Most people interpret temporary difficulty as a sign to stop. A few interpret it as proof they are growing beyond their previous limits. The obstacle remains exactly the same, but the meaning they assign to it determines whether they surrender or continue moving toward lasting success. Your mind is constantly watching your actions, searching for evidence about who you believe yourself to be. Every promise you break teaches your mind that your words cannot be trusted. Every promise you keep strengthens a deeper belief in your own capability. Self-confidence is not created by repeating positive affirmations. It is created when your daily behavior consistently proves that you can depend on yourself regardless of circumstances or temporary emotions. One day, you will look back and realize the greatest battle was never against failure, competition, or difficult circumstances. It was against the voice that quietly encouraged you to settle for less than your true potential. The moment you stop listening to that voice, everything begins changing. When people hear the word potential, they often imagine a hidden gift waiting to be discovered. But potential is not something you find one day like buried treasure. It is something you build through countless decisions that nobody applauds. Every disciplined morning, every difficult conversation, every promise you keep, and every excuse you refuse slowly reveal abilities that were always present. Your future is created less by talent than by the choices you repeatedly make. There is a powerful reason successful people protect their mornings, their attention, and their routines. They understand that every distraction quietly steals a piece of the future they are trying to build. Time is the only resource that can never be replaced once it disappears. Spend money wisely, but protect your attention even more carefully. Where your attention goes each day, your life eventually follows, whether that destination is success or regret. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with unnecessary stones during a long journey. Every step becomes harder than it needs to be. Many people live exactly this way, carrying old failures, painful memories, and limiting beliefs that no longer serve them. They continue fighting today's battles with yesterday's burdens. Growth sometimes requires learning new skills, but just as often it requires letting go of the weight that has been slowing you down for years. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your thinking. Instead of asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" ask, "What is this experience trying to teach me?" Instead of asking, "Why am I not successful yet?" ask, "What skill have I not mastered yet?" Better questions create better answers. Better answers produce better decisions. And better decisions quietly reshape the direction of an entire lifetime without attracting immediate attention from anyone around you. Many people underestimate the extraordinary power of patience because patience rarely produces instant excitement. Yet nearly every remarkable achievement demands it. A meaningful career, financial independence, deep relationships, emotional maturity, and lasting confidence all require time. They cannot be rushed. The people who eventually reach extraordinary destinations are often those who remained committed while everyone else became impatient, distracted, or discouraged by progress that seemed too slow to appreciate at first. Your greatest competition has never been another person. It has always been the older version of yourself that prefers comfort over growth, excuses over responsibility, and certainty over possibility. Every day you choose discipline instead of convenience, you become slightly stronger than yesterday. Those small victories accumulate quietly until one morning you realize you are no longer living as the person you used to be. You have become someone entirely different through consistent action. Perhaps the most inspiring truth about human potential is that it is never permanently closed. As long as you are willing to learn, adapt, and continue moving forward, tomorrow can be different from today. Your past may explain where you started, but it never has the authority to decide where you finish. The pen is still in your hands, and every decision you make from this moment forward continues writing the story of your remarkable future. Every meaningful dream demands a price long before it offers a reward. Unfortunately, most people expect confidence before commitment, certainty before action, and results before persistence. Life rarely works that way. The reward almost always comes after the sacrifice. The confidence you seek is earned by facing uncertainty repeatedly. The discipline you admire is built by keeping promises when nobody is watching. Greatness grows quietly before it ever becomes visible to the world. Think about a river carving its way through solid rock. It does not succeed because it is stronger than the stone. It succeeds because it refuses to stop flowing. Day after day, year after year, steady persistence reshapes what once appeared impossible. Your life follows the same principle. Small, consistent efforts may seem powerless today, but given enough time, they possess the strength to transform circumstances that once felt completely beyond your control forever. The people you admire have something in common that often goes unnoticed. They learned how to continue without immediate encouragement. They stopped depending on applause, recognition, or external motivation to keep moving forward. Instead, they built an inner standard that remained steady, regardless of public opinion. When nobody believed in them, they believed in themselves. That private decision eventually produced the public success the world now celebrates and remembers with admiration. Every excuse sounds reasonable while you are making it. I'll start tomorrow. I need more time. The conditions aren't right. At first, these thoughts feel harmless, but repeated often enough, they quietly become habits. Eventually, Procrastination stops being something you do and becomes someone you are. The opposite is equally true. Every small action completed today strengthens the identity of a person who finishes what they begin without waiting for perfect circumstances. Imagine meeting the person you could become 5 years from now if you remained completely committed to your growth. The confidence in their voice, the peace in their mind, the strength in their character, and the wisdom in their decisions would seem extraordinary. Yet that future version of you is not built by one remarkable day. It is built by thousands of ordinary days where you repeatedly chose progress over comfort, purpose over distraction, and courage over fear. There will always be moments when nobody notices your effort. Nobody congratulates your discipline. Nobody applauds your consistency. Those moments matter more than you realize, because character is never developed under the spotlight. It is developed in silence. Continue doing the right thing even when recognition never arrives. One day, your results will speak so loudly that no explanation will be necessary. Until then, let your discipline remain stronger than your desire for approval. One decision has the power to change the direction of an entire lifetime. Not because that single decision accomplishes everything immediately, but because it begins a chain of actions that gradually reshape your identity. Decide today that you will no longer allow fear, comfort, or self-doubt to determine your future. From that moment forward, every step becomes proof that your greatest limitation was never your potential. It was believing you had already reached it. The greatest prison in the world has no walls, no locks, and no guards. It exists inside the minds of people who have convinced themselves that their best days are behind them. They stopped dreaming because disappointment taught them to expect less. Yet history repeatedly proves that breakthroughs often arrive after the darkest seasons. The future belongs to those who refuse to let temporary setbacks become permanent conclusions about what is still possible. Imagine carrying a compass that always points toward your highest values instead of your strongest emotions. Some days you would feel tired, other days you would feel discouraged, but your direction would remain unchanged because purpose is stronger than passing emotions. This is the quiet advantage disciplined people possess. They do not allow today's feelings to decide tomorrow's future. Their commitment remains steady, even when motivation comes and goes without warning or explanation. Every challenge places two invisible gifts before you. The first is the lesson it teaches. The second is the person it allows you to become. Most people focus only on the discomfort and completely miss the transformation taking place beneath the surface. Difficult seasons are not simply obstacles delaying your progress. They are opportunities strengthening your patience, sharpening your judgment, and preparing your character for responsibilities you could not yet carry successfully before. Look closely at every meaningful achievement, and you will discover an invisible pattern. Behind every confident speaker were countless nervous conversations. Behind every successful entrepreneur were painful failures. Behind every respected leader were difficult decisions made without certainty. Confidence is never the starting line. It is always the reward earned through repeated action. Waiting until you feel ready often means waiting forever. Growth begins the moment you decide to move despite uncertainty. Your future is shaped less by dramatic, life-changing moments than by ordinary afternoons when nobody is watching. The decision to keep reading instead of quitting. The discipline to finish one more task. The willingness to practice one more skill. These moments appear insignificant because they happen quietly, yet they slowly accumulate until one day people call your success extraordinary, never realizing it was built through thousands of invisible choices repeated over many years. Never underestimate the influence of the people surrounding you. Expectations are contagious. Spend enough time with those who constantly complain, and your own ambition begins shrinking. Spend time with people who value growth, learning, and responsibility, and your thinking naturally expands. Protect your environment carefully, because your daily conversations eventually become your internal dialogue, and your internal dialogue ultimately becomes the reality you create through consistent action and unwavering belief in yourself. Success is never reserved for extraordinary people alone. More often, it belongs to ordinary individuals who refuse to stop after ordinary disappointments. Every setback presents a choice. You can either accept it as the end of your story or treat it as another lesson preparing you for the next chapter. The people who eventually succeed are rarely those with easier lives. They are simply those who continue writing when everyone else closes the book. Imagine walking through a dense forest before sunrise. At first, every direction appears uncertain because darkness hides the path ahead. Yet with each step, more of the trail becomes visible. Life unfolds the same way. You do not need to see every answer before moving forward. You only need enough courage to take the next step. Clarity is not given before action. It is revealed because of action and persistence together. Many people wait for a life-changing opportunity without realizing opportunities often arrive disguised as ordinary responsibilities. The project you almost ignored, the skill you nearly abandoned, or the habit you considered too small may become the turning point of your future. Never underestimate simple daily actions. Great achievements are usually hidden inside consistent routines that appear completely ordinary until their remarkable results finally become impossible for everyone else to ignore. Every difficult season asks a silent question. Will you allow temporary pain to define your future? Or will you use it to strengthen your character? Your answer determines far more than today's outcome. It shapes the person you become tomorrow. Hardship can either break your confidence or build your resilience. The difference depends entirely on whether you see obstacles as permanent barriers or valuable teachers guiding your personal growth every single day. There comes a moment in every meaningful journey when external motivation disappears completely. During that moment, habits become your greatest source of strength. They continue carrying you forward even when emotions become unreliable. This is why successful people trust disciplined routines more than fleeting inspiration. Motivation may help you begin, but habits quietly ensure you continue moving toward your goals long after excitement has disappeared from your daily life. Years from now, you will probably forget many ordinary days that seemed insignificant at the time. Yet those forgotten days will quietly become the foundation of everything meaningful you achieve. Never underestimate today's effort simply because it feels small. Every page you read, every promise you keep, and every challenge you overcome is becoming part of a future story that will inspire others long after they wonder how your remarkable journey truly began. Every successful person eventually discovers a truth that many people spend their entire lives avoiding. The hardest battle is never against circumstances. It is against the temptation to stop believing in yourself. Every time you choose persistence over comfort, you strengthen something invisible but priceless. You build trust within yourself. That trust becomes the quiet confidence allowing you to face greater challenges without waiting for perfect conditions or guaranteed outcomes ahead. Imagine a lighthouse standing alone during a violent storm. It cannot control the waves, the wind, or the darkness surrounding it. Yet it continues shining because its purpose never changes. Your life requires the same unwavering commitment. You cannot control every challenge that appears, but you can control your response. The people who reach extraordinary destinations are those who protect their purpose, even when life becomes unpredictable and difficult beyond expectation. One of the greatest dangers is becoming comfortable with unrealized potential. Over time, excuses begin sounding reasonable, and average results start feeling acceptable. Slowly, ambition fades without anyone noticing. This is why self-awareness matters. Frequently ask yourself whether your daily actions reflect the future you truly desire. Honest reflection creates necessary correction, preventing temporary comfort from quietly becoming a permanent lifestyle that limits everything you are capable of achieving. Your future self is shaped by conversations nobody else will ever hear. The words you whisper after failure, the thoughts you repeat before difficult decisions, and the beliefs you choose during uncertainty slowly become the architecture of your identity. Speak to yourself with honesty, but never with hopelessness. Your mind listens carefully to every sentence you repeat, eventually transforming those repeated thoughts into actions that define your entire direction in life. Success is not created by making one extraordinary decision. It is created by making ordinary decisions extraordinarily well. Choosing patience when frustration appears. Choosing discipline when distractions multiply. Choosing responsibility when excuses feel easier. These moments rarely receive applause, yet they determine your destiny. Long before the world notices remarkable achievements, remarkable character has already been built through thousands of invisible choices made with unwavering commitment and quiet determination. Perhaps the greatest gift you can give yourself is refusing to settle for the life your fears have designed. Instead, build the life your values deserve. Continue learning when progress feels slow. Continue believing when doubt grows louder. Continue acting when motivation disappears. Because one day, you will discover that your greatest achievement was never reaching success itself. It was becoming the person capable of creating it again and again throughout every season of life. Every meaningful victory begins long before anyone notices it. It begins in quiet mornings, disciplined routines, and difficult decisions made without applause. While the world celebrates visible success, it rarely witnesses the invisible sacrifices behind it. Remember this whenever progress feels slow. The results you cannot yet see are often being built through the consistency you choose when no one is watching, believing your effort still matters every day. Imagine an architect designing a magnificent building. Before anyone admires its beauty, months are spent creating a foundation hidden beneath the ground. Without that invisible structure, everything eventually collapses. Your character works exactly the same way. Discipline, patience, integrity, and resilience are the unseen foundations supporting every meaningful achievement. Build them carefully, because the strength of your future will always depend upon what others cannot see today. Many people chase shortcuts because they mistake speed for progress. Yet shortcuts often delay success by preventing genuine growth. Lasting achievement requires learning lessons that cannot be skipped. Every challenge develops wisdom. Every mistake strengthens judgment. Every failure teaches resilience. Trust the process, even when it feels slower than expected, because the strongest success is never rushed. It is earned through patient improvement repeated over countless ordinary days together. Your attention is one of the most valuable resources you possess. Every distraction competes for it, knowing that whatever captures your focus eventually shapes your future. Protect your attention with intention. Read books that expand your thinking. Surround yourself with people who challenge your growth. Spend time building skills instead of chasing endless entertainment. The quality of your attention quietly determines the quality of your life more than talent ever could. There will be moments when nobody understands your vision. Some may question your decisions, while others quietly expect you to fail. Do not allow their uncertainty to become your own. People judge according to what they can currently see, while your future depends upon possibilities they cannot yet imagine. Stay committed to your purpose, because extraordinary lives are often misunderstood before they are finally admired and deeply respected by everyone. The strongest form of confidence is built through evidence, not empty optimism. Every difficult promise you keep becomes proof that you can trust yourself. Every obstacle you overcome becomes another reminder that you are stronger than fear suggested. Confidence grows naturally when your actions repeatedly support your words. Stop waiting to feel confident first. Begin acting consistently, and confidence will quietly follow as the inevitable result of disciplined behavior over time. One day, you will realize that reaching your potential was never about becoming someone completely different. It was about removing every excuse, every limiting belief, and every unnecessary fear that prevented your true abilities from emerging. Your greatest strength has always been within you, waiting patiently for the moment you decided to believe in it. And that single decision has the power to transform every chapter still waiting to be written. Success is rarely a single life-changing moment. More often, it is the result of hundreds of unnoticed decisions made with discipline and intention. Each time you choose growth over comfort, you strengthen your future. Each time you refuse an excuse, you build resilience. These choices may seem insignificant today, but together they create a life that others call extraordinary, never realizing it was built through ordinary actions, repeated consistently over many patient years. Imagine carrying a compass instead of a map. A map shows every turn, but a compass simply keeps you moving in the right direction. Your values should become that compass. Circumstances will change, plans will fail, opportunities will appear unexpectedly. Yet if your direction remains guided by discipline, integrity, and purpose, you will continue moving forward, even when the destination cannot yet be clearly seen through today's uncertainty and temporary confusion. Every great achievement begins with responsibility. The moment you stop blaming circumstances and start accepting ownership of your future, your perspective changes completely. Problems become challenges to solve instead of excuses to surrender. Responsibility is not about carrying unnecessary guilt. It is about recognizing that your next decision still belongs to you. That realization gives you more power than any favorable circumstance ever could, because it restores control over your direction. There will always be someone more talented, more experienced, or more fortunate than you. Comparing yourself to them only steals the energy needed for your own growth. Instead, compete with the person you were yesterday. Improve one habit, learn one lesson, correct one mistake. These small victories accumulate faster than you imagine, eventually creating a version of yourself that your past self would barely recognize with admiration and gratitude. The mind becomes stronger through challenges, just as muscles become stronger through resistance. Difficult moments are not interruptions to your growth. They are part of the process itself. Every obstacle teaches patience. Every setback develops resilience. Every disappointment strengthens emotional maturity. If life never challenged you, it would never prepare you for the responsibilities waiting on the other side of your dreams, where true growth finally reveals its lasting value. Never confuse being busy with making progress. Activity alone does not guarantee meaningful results. Many people spend years moving constantly without moving forward. Learn to focus on what truly matters instead of everything demanding your attention. A few important actions completed consistently will always outperform countless distractions performed without purpose. Clarity allows your effort to create momentum instead of exhaustion, bringing lasting progress where scattered energy never could have succeeded. As you continue this journey, remember that your greatest advantage is not extraordinary talent or perfect timing. It is your willingness to continue when continuing becomes difficult. Every day you remain committed, you become someone your future can depend on. Keep protecting your vision, strengthening your character, and honoring your promises. Because your highest potential is not waiting somewhere ahead. It is being created by the choices you make today. Every meaningful journey reaches a point where excitement fades and commitment is tested. In the beginning, progress feels exciting because everything is new. Later, the routine becomes ordinary, and doubt quietly returns. This is the moment that separates dreamers from achievers. Dreamers rely on emotion. Achievers rely on discipline. They continue taking the next step, even when the journey no longer feels exciting, because purpose matters more than temporary feelings or comfort. Imagine a blacksmith shaping a sword. Each strike of the hammer appears repetitive, yet every strike strengthens the blade. Remove the heat or stop the hammer too soon, and the sword remains incomplete. Your challenges serve the same purpose. Every disappointment, delay, and difficult decision is strengthening qualities that comfort could never develop. One day, you will appreciate the struggles that once seemed determined to break your spirit completely apart. Your habits are constantly introducing you to your future. Every healthy choice, every focused hour, and every disciplined decision is quietly creating tomorrow's opportunities. Likewise, every unnecessary delay, every broken promise, and every repeated excuse slowly builds a future you never intended to create. The remarkable truth is that your destiny is rarely decided in extraordinary moments. It is shaped by ordinary habits repeated consistently, whether intentionally or unconsciously, every single day. Fear becomes dangerous only when it remains unquestioned. Most fears are predictions rather than realities. They convince you that failure is certain before you even begin. Challenge those assumptions. Ask yourself whether your fear is based on evidence or imagination. More often than not, you will discover that the obstacles seem much larger inside your mind than it ever was in real life. Courage grows every time you question fear instead of obeying it. Never underestimate the power of beginning again. Some people refuse to restart because they believe starting over means losing. In reality, every new beginning carries lessons collected from previous attempts. You are not returning to the starting line as the same person. You return with greater wisdom, stronger resilience, and deeper understanding. That experience transforms every future effort into something far more powerful than the first attempt could ever have been. One day, someone will ask how you managed to change your life. They will expect a secret technique or a single defining moment. But the real answer will surprise them. You simply refused to quit. You kept learning after mistakes. You kept moving after setbacks. You kept believing when progress was invisible. And eventually, those quiet decisions became the foundation of a life that once existed only inside your imagination. Remember this whenever doubt whispers that your efforts are meaningless. Every page you read, every lesson you apply, every promise you keep, and every obstacle you overcome is preparing you for opportunities you cannot yet see. The future rewards those who remain faithful to the process, even when the results are delayed. Stay patient, stay disciplined, and keep moving forward. Your greatest breakthrough may be much closer than you currently believe. Every successful person eventually realizes that waiting for the perfect moment is one of the most convincing excuses ever created. Perfect conditions never arrive. There will always be uncertainty, unexpected challenges, and reasons to delay. Those who transform their lives learn to begin before they feel completely prepared. Progress belongs to those who are willing to act with imperfect confidence, trusting that experience will teach what preparation alone never possibly could. Imagine climbing a staircase in complete darkness with only a small flashlight. The light reveals just the next few steps, never the entire journey. Yet step by step, you continue moving upward. Life follows the same principle. You are not meant to know every answer before beginning. The next step becomes visible only after you take the current one. Faith in consistent action often creates clarity where endless planning never can. One of the greatest differences between average people and exceptional people is their relationship with discomfort. Average people avoid it whenever possible. Exceptional people understand that discomfort is often evidence of growth. Learning a new skill feels uncomfortable. Building discipline feels uncomfortable. Facing fear feels uncomfortable. Instead of running from these moments, they embrace them, knowing that temporary discomfort often leads to permanent transformation and opportunities far beyond ordinary expectations. Success is built in private long before it is celebrated in public. Every early morning, every focused hour, every difficult decision, and every sacrifice becomes part of a foundation that others rarely witness. When people finally admire your achievements, They often overlook the years of quiet preparation behind them. Never become discouraged because your efforts go unnoticed. Invisible work has always been the birthplace of visible excellence throughout history and every generation. Your greatest breakthroughs will often arrive immediately after your greatest moments of doubt. This is why quitting can be so dangerous. Many people walk away just before their persistence would have produced meaningful results. Continue a little longer, learn a little more, improve one more time. Sometimes the only difference between success and regret is the willingness to remain committed for one additional day when everyone else has already surrendered completely. At the end of your life, you will not regret the difficult mornings, the disciplined routines, or the sacrifices made in pursuit of something meaningful. You will regret the dreams abandoned because fear sounded more convincing than hope. Choose courage again and again, even when the outcome remains uncertain. Your future is quietly shaped by today's decisions, and every brave step brings you closer to becoming the person you were always capable of becoming. The journey toward your highest potential is not about proving your worth to the world. It is about proving to yourself that you are capable of more than yesterday's limitations. Keep showing up. Keep growing. Keep believing. The life you desire is not created by one extraordinary decision, but by countless ordinary decisions made with extraordinary consistency. And that quiet consistency will eventually become the legacy that defines your entire life. Most people spend years trying to change their circumstances while ignoring the beliefs creating those circumstances. A different job, a better income, or a new environment may improve your situation temporarily, but lasting transformation begins within. Change the way you think, and your decisions begin to change. Change your decisions, and your habits follow. Eventually, your habits reshape your entire life, proving that every lasting success begins with an invisible internal shift first. Imagine an archer preparing to release an arrow. Before it can move forward with great force, it must first be pulled backward. Life often works in the same way. Moments of delay, disappointment, and struggle are not always signs that you are losing ground. Sometimes they are preparing you for greater momentum. Trust the process, because what feels like a setback today may become the very force that launches your future. Every person carries two voices inside their mind. One whispers comfort, urging you to stay where everything feels familiar and predictable. The other quietly calls you toward growth, encouraging you to take risks and embrace uncertainty. The voice that becomes stronger is simply the one you choose to follow most often. Every decision either strengthens fear or strengthens courage. Over time, those repeated choices become the foundation of your character and destiny. Knowledge has little value without application. Reading inspiring books, watching motivational videos, and learning powerful ideas can change your perspective, but they cannot change your life unless they influence your actions. Wisdom is created when knowledge becomes behavior. Do not measure your growth by how much you know. Measure it by how consistently you apply what you have learned, especially during moments when applying it feels difficult and uncomfortable. The strongest people are not those who never experience doubt. They are those who continue moving despite it. They understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else is more important. Every meaningful goal will test your confidence before rewarding your persistence. Accept that challenge willingly, because the person you become while overcoming obstacles will always be more valuable than the achievement waiting at the finish line. Never forget that every remarkable story you admire was once an uncertain beginning. Every leader was once inexperienced. Every expert was once a beginner. Every confident person once questioned themselves. The difference is that they refuse to let uncertainty become an excuse for inaction. Years from now, your future self will be grateful that you continued when quitting seemed easier. And that decision may become the turning point that changes everything forever. One ordinary day, without even realizing it, you will notice something extraordinary. The habits that once felt difficult will become natural. The fears that once controlled you will lose their power. The goals that once seemed impossible will feel achievable. In that moment, you will understand the greatest truth of all. Success was never created in a single breakthrough. It was quietly built through thousands of consistent decisions, made one day at a time. The world often celebrates confidence without recognizing where it comes from. True confidence is not inherited, purchased, or discovered overnight. It is earned through repeated moments of courage. Every difficult decision you make, every promise you keep, and every challenge you overcome becomes another piece of evidence that you are capable of more than you once believed. Confidence is built one action at a time, never all at once. Imagine a musician practicing alone in an empty room. No audience applauds. No cameras record the effort. Yet every hour of deliberate practice improves a skill that will one day inspire thousands. Your personal growth follows the same pattern. The work you do in private shapes the results the world eventually sees. Never underestimate silent preparation, because invisible effort has always produced the most visible achievements throughout history and human progress. Many people mistake temporary failure for permanent defeat. They experience one disappointment and immediately question their entire future. But failure has never possessed the authority to define your destiny. It only provides information about what must improve next. The moment you begin viewing setbacks as teachers instead of enemies, every obstacle becomes an opportunity. That simple shift in perspective transforms frustration into wisdom and uncertainty into powerful personal growth over time. Your daily routine is quietly writing the story of your future. Every morning you wake with another opportunity to reinforce the habits shaping your identity. Small choices matter because they are repeated. Reading instead of scrolling, learning instead of complaining, creating instead of consuming. These decisions may appear insignificant today, but repeated consistently, they become the invisible force separating ordinary lives from extraordinary ones through patience, discipline, and unwavering commitment every single day. There will always be reasons to wait: more time, more money, better conditions, greater confidence. Yet every remarkable achievement in history began before everything felt perfect. The people who changed their lives understood that action creates momentum, while hesitation creates regret. They accepted uncertainty as part of the journey instead of treating it as permission to remain still. Progress has always belonged to those willing to begin before they felt completely ready. As you continue forward, remember that your greatest strength is not the absence of fear, doubt, or difficulty. Your greatest strength is your willingness to continue despite them. Every step you take becomes proof that your future matters more than your excuses. And one day, when you look back at the distance you have traveled, you will realize the impossible never disappeared. You simply became the person capable of overcoming it. One day, you will understand that life was never waiting for you to become fearless. It was waiting for you to move despite your fear. Every challenge, every failure, and every victory was quietly preparing you for this realization. You were never competing against the world. You were competing against the version of yourself that believed you could not change. The moment that belief disappeared, a completely different future quietly began unfolding before you. If you remember only one lesson from this journey, let it be this. Your circumstances may influence your beginning, but they never have the authority to define your ending. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to choose discipline over distraction, growth over comfort, and courage over fear. Your future is not written by yesterday's mistakes. It is written by today's decisions, repeated consistently until they become the story of your life. Years from now, people may admire your achievements, your confidence, or the life you created. What they will never fully see are the countless mornings you kept going without recognition, the nights you refused to quit, and the invisible battles you fought inside your own mind. Those unseen victories became the foundation of everything visible. Never forget that greatness is almost always built where nobody is looking. Perhaps, at this very moment, someone listening to these words is standing on the edge of giving up. If that person is you, remember this. Do not measure your future by how difficult today feels. Measure it by who you are becoming through today's struggle. Every challenge you survive is expanding your strength in ways you cannot yet recognize. Keep walking. Your breakthrough may be far closer than your doubts are willing to admit. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine meeting the person you could become if you never stopped learning, never stopped growing, and never stopped believing in your potential. That person is not living in another world. They are waiting inside every disciplined choice you make today. The distance between who you are and who you could become is measured only by the decisions you are willing to repeat consistently. The greatest investment you will ever make is not in money, status, or possessions. It is in your character. Because skills may create opportunities, but character determines whether you can sustain them. Continue building integrity, resilience, patience, and self-discipline. These qualities will remain with you long after temporary success fades, guiding every decision and opening doors that talent alone could never unlock throughout your entire lifetime. So, as this journey comes to an end, ask yourself one final question. What kind of person will I choose to become, starting today? Because the answer to that single question will echo through every decision you make, every habit you build, every obstacle you overcome, and every dream you finally bring to life. Your potential has always been there. Your future has always been waiting. Now, the next chapter is yours to write.